Maybe. There we go. Hey, Facebook. Here we go. We just got started. We're going to be talking about the 10 plagues of Egypt today. So do you guys remember where we left off yesterday? Last week. My goodness. What was happening last week? What was happening with Moses? Huh?
God was talking to him.
God was talking to him. And what was he talking to him through?
About God to go back to Egypt.
No, what was God here?
Burning bush.
A burning bush, that's right. Yes. So God came to Moses in a burning bush and told him, you need to go back to Egypt to save your people. And Moses told God all of these excuses, right? Who am I? Why am I special? If I go back, they'll kill me. And what did God tell Moses?
The guy that was going to kill him died.
That's right. It's been 40 years. The guy that was going to kill you, he's dead already. And your people, the Israelites or the Hebrews, they need your help. You need to go help your people. So Moses finally agreed to go help his people. So Moses and his brother Aaron, they go on a journey back to Egypt. So let's learn a little song real quick that we are going to sing a whole bunch of times today. Okay, so, sorry, Facebook is giving me heck. There we go. So I want everybody to put your hands up like this. Can you see me? Let's see. Like this. Can you do it? Good job. Okay, here we go. Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Oh, baby, let my people go. One more time. Ready? Hands up. Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Oh, baby, let my people go. All right. So now that everybody knows the song, so Moses left for Egypt like God told him to so he could get the Israelites or the Hebrews out of Egypt. His brother Aaron went with him. God told them that Pharaoh would be really hard to convince because Pharaoh didn't believe in God, did he? Do y'all remember who we talked about? That who do Egypt think is their God? Do you guys remember? Who do they worship?
They worship towers, and they think it's God, but God is. They're not worshiping the real God.
That's right. So they worship what's called idols, right? So if they wanted to worship this bull, right? They could say that this is God. This is my God. But is this bull God?
No.
No. How about this leaf? Is this leaf God? No. There's only one true and almighty powerful God, right? And that's the God that was talking to Moses. So, the first day that Moses and Aaron got to Egypt, they went straight to Pharaoh, and guess what they told him? Ready? Hands up. Hands up. Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Oh, baby, let my people go. Now, what do you think Pharaoh said? Do you think Pharaoh said, okay, go ahead, take your people? No. Pharaoh says, who is the Lord? Why should I do anything that he says? That's not my God. And Moses and Aaron, they said, look at your people. Look at the slaves. They're working so hard. Don't they need a day of rest? Shouldn't they rest? So later that same day, guess what Pharaoh did? Pharaoh did just the opposite. Pharaoh made the Israelites work even harder. Even harder. So the Israelites came to Pharaoh and they were crying and they said, why? Why have you done this to us? So then the Israelites went to Moses and said, look what you did. You made us look bad in front of Pharaoh. Now they might kill us. They might kill us because of what you told him. So Moses cried out to God and he says, God, look what happened. Look what happened to the people. Now they might die. They're working twice as hard as they should. Why did you do this? And do you know what God told them? What did God tell them? God told them, I need you to have faith. I need you to trust me. Trust me. Just watch. Watch what I'm going to do to Pharaoh. I need you to trust me the same way that Abraham trusted me, the same way that Isaac trusted me, and the same way that Jacob trusted me. Now, go and tell Pharaoh to let your people go. So, Moses went back and he said, ready, hands up. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. So, do you think Pharaoh listened? No, Pharaoh didn't listen. So, God told Moses, look, Pharaoh's heart, it's not good. It's not in the right place. So God told Aaron, Moses' brother, I want you to hold out your rod. Hold it over the river. Okay, can everybody see my little water here? Can you see my water?
Yeah.
Yes? Can you see my little fishies? You see my little fishies in there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Aaron held out his rod over the water. And guess what happened? The water, it turned into blood. Can you see the blood? Can you see? Ew, right? Isn't that yucky? So if the water... Oh, yes. Ew, it would be so yucky. So if the water turned into blood, what do you think happened to the fish? They died, yes, because blood is nothing like water, right? Okay, so Pharaoh had magicians. Who knows what a magician is?
Me.
What's a magician, Cooper?
It's a magic person.
Yes, it's a person who does magic. So Pharaoh had magicians that could do these fake miracles, right? So Pharaoh told his magicians, hey, I want you to go grab some water and I want you to turn it into blood. So the magicians came back and they turned this little bit of water into what looked like blood. But it really wasn't. It was just a fake miracle. So think about it. If all of the water in the whole land, in the rivers, in the ponds, everything, if there was no clean water, if all the water turned into blood, what would happen?
All the fishes in the world, even sharks, would die.
They would die. Now, how would we take a shower?
I don't know.
Would you take a shower in blood?
No.
Ew, no.
Hey, dirty.
Okay, what about when mommy washes the dishes? Would she wash dishes with blood?
No.
Ew, no. So this lasted for 7 days. Can you imagine if you had no clean water for 7 days? 7 days you couldn't take a shower. You couldn't wash your dishes. You didn't have any water to drink. So the Egyptians, they were digging holes trying to find fresh water to drink. So this lasted for 7 days. Okay, so after 7 days, Moses went back to Pharaoh and he said, hands up, ready? Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. But do you think Pharaoh was ready? No, Pharaoh still wouldn't let his people go. So he didn't listen, and this time Aaron held out his rod over the river, and all of these frogs started coming out of the water, and they completely covered the land. They completely covered it. Now, let's see if I can do
No, they
this.
stepped on the frogs.
What?
Oh, they stepped on the frogs then.
Yes! Oh, look, it worked. All right, so can y'all see my floor covered in frogs? Can you see it? That's a lot, right? Isn't that a lot of frogs? Yeah, lots of frogs. Now, imagine with me that instead of just that one square, in just that one square of my kitchen, imagine if that was your whole house covered in frogs, where you couldn't walk, you couldn't step on anything. They were in your food, in your bathtub where you take a shower. Can you imagine there being that many frogs everywhere? Yucky, right? Ew. So, so Pharaoh called to his magicians again and said, hey, I need you to pull a bunch of frogs out of the river, out of the ponds, out of everything, because I know this miracle is fake. And they did. So that made the frogs even worse, because now there were frogs everywhere before, but now there's extra frogs. So they're in everybody's houses, they're in all the land, they're everywhere. They couldn't even go to bed without being covered in frogs. Can you imagine sleeping in the bed with your frogs?
No.
Ew. That would be yucky. Okay, so it got so bad with the frogs that Pharaoh went to Moses and said, okay. If you just take the frogs away, I will let you have your people. You and your people can go. So Moses went to God and said, holy cow, he told me that if the frogs will go away, that he'll let my people go. So the next day, the frogs disappeared. They just all went away. But guess what? Pharaoh lied. Pharaoh did not let the people go, even after he told Moses that he would. He lied. So, again, Moses went to Pharaoh and said, hands up, hands up, hands up. Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. So, but again, Pharaoh said, no, I don't think so. You're not getting your people. So, God told Aaron, I want you to hold out your rod over the dirt so that it can turn into lice. Now, does anybody know what lice is? No? Oh, y'all are so lucky. So we still have lice on Earth today. So it's these little bitty teeny weeny bugs that get in your hair. And they make your head really, really itchy.
I sometimes have those.
Yes, there are some people at school that my Michael has had lice, even as short as his hair is. It can be on girls, it can be on boys. Lice can even get on your animals. Lices are really nasty. So, this really freaked out the Egyptians. Well, I don't know. If they have any hair on them, it can get anywhere. But that's why some people with lice, they shave their heads so they can get rid of the bugs. So, this really bothered the Egyptians because Egyptians spent a lot of time making sure that they were very clean, that they were very well groomed and taken care of. And so they were really, really freaking out because lice meant that you're dirty, right? Obviously, if you have bugs in your hair, then you don't take a shower, which is not true, by the way. But that's what the Egyptians thought. So Pharaoh told his magicians, hey, I need you to come make lice. And guess what the magicians said? They said, I can't do it. I can't make the lice. The magicians told Pharaoh, this has to be God. It has to be. It's not magic. It's not a fake miracle. This is the real deal. Like, you need to listen to this Moses and Aaron guy, because whatever they're doing, it's not magic. It's something else. But Pharaoh still didn't listen. So the next day, Moses goes back to Pharaoh. Hey, look, Cooper's on it. Ready? Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Oh, baby, let my people go. But this time, Pharaoh said, if you don't let my people go, my God is going to send swarms of flies to your land. Now, have y'all ever eaten outside, like at a picnic or just outside at your backyard?
Outside.
Yeah? Do you see these little bugs that get on your food and like fly around your face?
They sometimes even have them in my house that come in.
I know, sometimes they come in my house too. So, can you imagine having so many flies in your house and everywhere outside that it's hard to see? How many flies would it take for you not to be able to see? Huh? So, Moses told Pharaoh, this is going to happen tomorrow. I want you to be ready. So just so you know, there will be swarms of flies tomorrow if you don't let my people go. And sure enough, there were. There were bugs everywhere. There were flies everywhere. They were in the houses. They were in their toilets, in their bathtubs, in their beds, in the refrigerator, everywhere. There were flies everywhere. Now, again, I know, ew, too many bugs. So, again, Pharaoh was like, okay. For real this time, for real. If you just take these flies away, I will let your people go. I will do it, I promise. I will let your people go. But, do you think Pharaoh was telling the truth? No. Pharaoh was lying again. And but the flies went away, but still, Pharaoh was lying and didn't tell the truth. So, Moses went to Pharaoh and said, hands up, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh, baby, let my people go. So, Moses said this time, if you don't let my people go, your livestock, they're going to get really sick. So we're talking about your cows, your chickens, your horses, your sheep, everything. They're all going to get sick and they're going to die. And this is going to happen tomorrow. However, Pharaoh still didn't let the people go. So, all right, let's see. The animals got sick. So, let's see. Oh, I'm covering the camera. Oh, wait. Nope, that's Frog. My bad. All right, can y'all see my animals?
Yeah.
Can you see my animals? So these were the animals of the Egyptians, okay? And they all died. All of them. They all died. They all got sick and they all died. Now, Pharaoh sent somebody to go look at the Hebrews' animals because Moses had told Pharaoh that, look, this is only going to affect your people, not my people. My people's animals, they're going to be just fine. So Pharaoh sent one of his servants to go look at the Israelites' cows. And how do you think they were?
Very sick.
Nope.
Dead.
They were all fine. They were all fine. The cows and the horses and the pigs, everything. The Israelites, their animals, they were all fine. So this plague only affected the Egyptians and not the Israelites. Now, can you imagine, with no cows, we would have no cheeseburgers, no steak, no milk, and with no chickens, we wouldn't have any eggs. We wouldn't have any chicken nuggets. Can you imagine? I know. And if there were no pigs, we'd have no bacon. No bacon. Everybody loves bacon, but all of their animals, they died. But Pharaoh still didn't listen. So Moses went again to talk to Pharaoh, and he said, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. But Pharaoh still said no. Nope, I'm not letting your people go. So God told Moses and Aaron, I want you to go to the furnace. Now, a furnace is kind of like a fireplace, okay? It's a place where you cook things. And they picked up ashes from the furnace and they threw them up in the air. And when the dust finally came down, all of the Egyptian people had boils. Now, I'm going to see if y'all can see this. Boils are this infectious disease that gets on your skin. So let's see if I can show you. Do you see how my arm has those boils on it?
Yeah.
Yucky, right?
Yeah.
And they hurt really, really bad. Really bad. Let me show Facebook my boils. So, see boils on my skin? Ooh, they hurt so bad. So, the Egyptians, again, got really scared because if you have all this nasty stuff on your skin, then you're not clean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody had terrible, terrible boils. It was very painful. The Pharaoh couldn't even call his magicians because the magicians also had the boils and couldn't get rid of them. But Pharaoh still wouldn't let the people go. So the next day, Moses went to Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. But Pharaoh still wasn't ready to listen. So this time, Moses told Pharaoh, look, this is serious, okay? God is almighty. He is all powerful. My Lord, he is powerful. He's planning to kill your people. You need to go inside because there is a hailstorm coming. Now, does anybody know what hail is? So we have hail sometimes here in Houston. So hail is pieces of ice that fall from the sky, okay? And it's kind of like a really, really, really bad rain, but it's ice instead of rain. So it would hurt very bad. And so that's why Moses told Pharaoh, look, you need to find shelter. You need to go inside and stay there because people are going to die. The hail is going to come so hard and so fast that it's going to kill anybody and anything that's standing outside. So any animals, any people that are outside, anybody that's outside, they're going to die. So it started to hail. Ice started falling from the sky just like it would here. But do you know what started falling with the ice?
No.
Fire. Fire started falling with the ice in the sky. Now, let me ask you this. Woo. If I set this leaf on fire, what do you think will happen?
I don't know.
What's going to happen?
It will burn.
It's going to burn, right? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe my leaf is magic.
It's a burning bush.
Come on.
Yep, it's burning.
There it goes. Slowly but surely. So it's gonna burn, right? Now, if my smoke detector goes off, that should be fun. So this is what was happening when the ice and the fire was falling. all of the crops, all of their plants, everything, it was setting on fire. And the ice was falling so hard that it was killing people. So the ice was falling next to the fire. They were falling out of the sky together. The ice was killing people and animals and anything, and the fire was setting all of their plants on fire. All of their like vegetables that they grow, the wheat that they grow, everything was setting fire and it was burning. Okay, now Pharaoh is watching all of this and he's like, holy cow, my land is burning, people are dying. So he went to Moses and he says, okay, I'm really being serious this time. I have sinned. I have sinned, and my people, they are wicked. So they deserve this. If you make the hail and the fire stop, I will let your people go. So Moses went to God and said, look, Pharaoh said that he sinned and that he wants the hail to stop. He called his people wicked. Maybe he is telling the truth this time. So God cleared the skies. The fire stopped. The hail stopped. Do you think Pharaoh kept his promise and let his people go?
No.
Nope. Still no. He still didn't. So here we go again. Moses goes back to Pharaoh and he tells him, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. So this time, the people of Egypt, they're starting to see. They're really starting to recognize, okay, something is really, really wrong. What? I know. Something is really, really wrong. Our cows are gone. Our chickens are dead. The land, it's burnt, it's gone. People have died all because of this one man, or these two men, Moses and Aaron. Haven't you looked outside? Haven't you seen Egypt? It's destroyed. It's destroyed. Our land, our country, it's destroyed because of what these two men are talking about. Why don't you just let his people go? Give him what he wants so he will leave us alone. So Pharaoh went to Moses and says, okay, he started asking all of these questions and he says, where do you want to go? Who do you want to take with you? And Moses said, I want to go on a 3-day journey. I want to go for 3 days. I'm taking all of my people, my men, my women, my children, and all of my animals. So my cattle, all of my livestock, my cows, my chickens, my horses, everything. I'm taking everybody with me and we're going to go for 3 days. Pharaoh didn't like this answer. He did not want everybody to be gone for 3 days. So he said, well, nope. Okay, sorry, not happening. So God told Moses to hold out his hand and that locusts would come. Who knows what a locust is?
A bug.
It is a very big bug. So I know this picture is very big, but locusts are actually about the size of my one finger. Okay, that's about how long a locust is. Now, these bugs, they eat plants. Okay, so they sent these locusts just like the flies and the frogs, and they were everywhere. So anything that was left in Egypt, any plants, any food, any water, the locusts, they were going to eat it. And so they did. The locusts came and covered Egypt. They were in their houses, everywhere. It was so gross. And Pharaoh said, okay, please forgive me. Please forgive me, Moses. I have sinned. Please forgive me, I have sinned. God heard Pharaoh say this, and there was this huge gust of wind, and it blew all the locusts away. And just like that, the locusts, they were gone. They were gone. But Pharaoh changed his mind, just like always, and wouldn't let the people go. So Moses, being resilient that he is, goes back again and says, come on guys, this is the last time. Make it count. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, Oh, baby, let my people go. God told Moses to hold out his hands to heaven. Can you hold out your hands to heaven? Hold out your hands to heaven. Hold them out. Now, do you know what happened when he did this? It got dark. It got so dark that now, can you still see me right now? Yeah, right? Because my TV is on, okay? And I've got a little bit of light coming from my phone or my iPad that I'm working on. But can you imagine if it was all the way totally dark where you couldn't even see me? Now. Yeah, so we call that thick darkness. Very thick. You can also see it reflecting in my glasses, right? Is that better? Of course, now I can't read my paper. But... so, you got to remember that this was a really, really, really long time ago, and they didn't live in a place where you could just turn on a light switch, right? You couldn't just walk to the wall and turn on the light switch and poof, there was lights. So, they lived in a time where you got up when the sun came up, you used the sun for your light, and when the sun went down, that was it. You went to bed because there was nothing else to do because you couldn't see. So, this darkness, it lasted for 3 days. Can you imagine it being totally dark for 3 days? There was no sunshine, no nothing for 3 days. But Pharaoh sent some people over to the Israelites' houses, and guess what? They had light in their house. The Israelites had lights in their houses. How do you think that's possible if there's no sunshine outside? How do you think it's possible? Who put lights in their houses? Who put lights in the Israelites' houses if there's no electricity?
Flashlights.
They didn't have flashlights back then.
Candles.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. But who else could have made the light magic?
The magician.
Nope. Who did it for the Israelites? God! That's right. So, God, let me turn my lights back on. God gave lights. Wrong light. Nope, still wrong light. There we go. God put light in the Israelites' houses because God didn't want his own people to suffer, right? So, when Pharaoh told Moses, okay, if you turn the lights back on, I will let your people go so you can worship your God and your babies can go with you, but you're not taking your animals. Moses said, well, that won't work because we have to take our animals with us because we have to make a sacrifice. Our sacrifice to God, it has to be in pure form. It has to be an animal. So this made Pharaoh very angry. And he told Moses, get out, get away from me and never come back. Because if you come back and show your face again, you're going to die. And Moses stayed very calm. And all he said was, okay, you'll never see my face again. So God came to he left. God came to Moses and said, I'm going to plague Egypt one more time. One more time. And it's going to be the worst one. It's going to be really bad. It's going to be a very bad time. It's going to be very sad. So, I want you guys to tell me, Cooper, do you have any brothers or sisters?
No.
No, it's just you? Okay. So, I want you to raise your hand if you're the oldest. Jackson, are you the oldest?
No, I am.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yep, nope. Jackson, are you older than Aiden?
I'm in the top. I'm 3.
You are, Layla. You're the oldest. Okay.
I'm 3.
I know. Miss Kinsey, are you not the oldest? I was like, wait, I know you have a sibling, but I can't remember if you're older or younger. Okay, so now I am also the oldest. I am the only, okay? So now, what if I told you that the oldest person, Jackson, are you listening? Eyes on me. What if I told you that the oldest person, the oldest sibling in your family was gonna die at midnight? So everybody whose hands were just up, so I'm gonna die at midnight. Miss Willie's gonna die at midnight. Miss Layla's gonna die at midnight. So is Miss Kinsey. So is Cooper, and so is Aiden. We're all gonna die at midnight because we are the oldest. Would that be scary? Would that be scary? That's really scary, right? It's not gonna happen. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's just a hypothetical, you guys. But that's what God told Moses. All of the firstborns in all of the family, it doesn't matter if you're a baby, if you're a grown-up, it doesn't matter if you're an animal. The firstborn in every family is going to die. I want you to go where there's lots of people so that you can announce this to all of Egypt. And so Moses did. Moses went where all of the people of Egypt were, and he told them, your firstborn of every family and of every animal, it's going to die. All of them. Your very firstborn. So the Egyptian people got really scared because they thought, okay, if this person is telling the truth, and if God can really kill our firstborn, what stops him from killing the rest of us? Like the rest of us, we could die too, right? So Moses went to the Hebrews, to the Israelites, and he told them to have a special meal. Now, next week, we're going to talk about this special meal a little more in depth. But he said, I want you to have a special meal, and I want you to put blood on your door outside. Okay? That way, when God comes and he sees the blood on the door, he knows that that's God's people, that those are Israelites, and he will know to not kill them. So the Israelites, they were fine. Nobody died as long as you were a God's people. Raise your hand if you're God's people. So guess what? That means that none of us are going to die because we're God's people. We believe in God. We trust God. We fear God. And I tell you what, if God came to me and said, look, you need to put blood on your door so you don't die, you better believe I'm going to find blood from somewhere and I'm putting it on my door so I don't die. And sure enough, that night it happened. God came through all of Egypt and he killed anybody that did not have blood on their door. Their firstborn, they died. It didn't matter if it was mommy, if it was daddy, if it was brother, sister, if you were the firstborn, you died. It was so scary. So those are called the 10 plagues of Egypt, okay? So we're going to sing another song so we can hopefully remember the 10 plagues of Egypt, okay? We'll sing it a couple of times. The water turned to blood. Frogs, lice, flies, and the murrain of the cattle, boils and hail, locusts, thick darkness, death of the firstborn. So I want to talk about a word in this song real quick before we sing it again. It's murrain, and it's M-U-R-R-A-I-N. So what that means is they got really, really sick. It's like a disease, right? Because that's what happened to the animals. They got really sick and they died. So that's what the word murrain means. So let's sing it one more time. The water turned to blood, frogs, lice, flies, and the murrain of the cattle, boils and hail, locusts, thick darkness, death of the firstborn. So let's go through them real quick. The water turned to blood. Yes? Let's see. I lost my aquarium. Oh, here it is. So the water turned to blood, right? That was the first one. And then what was next? Frogs. Frogs were next. After the frogs, it was lice, the little bugs in your hair. Then after the lice, it was flies. After the flies, it was the animals that got sick and died, yes. And then it was the boils on their skin, the yucky things on their skin that hurt really bad. Then it was the hail, the ice that fell out of the sky with fire, right? The ice with the fire that killed. And then it was the locusts, yes? And the 9th plague was darkness. And then the 10th plague was the death of the firstborn in every family. Now, why do you think God made all of this happen to the people in Egypt? Why do you think he did this to the people in Egypt? Because they were bad people, right? The Egyptians were not good people at all. And God wanted Pharaoh to know that he is the one and only true God. There is only one true God. It is not my bull. It is not my leaf. It is not this horse, right? There is only one true, all-powerful, all-knowing God. And God wanted Pharaoh to know that. And so the plagues were punishment on the Egyptian people for being bad people, for not believing in the right God, for worshiping all the idols that they worshiped. But the plagues also taught Moses and Aaron to trust, to have faith, to always trust God. We should always trust God no matter what's happening, no matter how bad it is, no matter if things get really, really scary. Who thinks this coronavirus is really scary? Right? Right? It's all really scary, right? It's scary. We're not going to work. We're not going to school, right? School got canceled. We can barely go outside. Everybody has to wear a mask all the time, right? There's lots of things that are changing. It's really scary sometimes. But we have to have faith. We have to have faith in God, just like Moses and Aaron had faith that everything will be okay. As long as you are God's people, everything will be okay if you have faith in God. So, next week, we are going to talk about this special meal that I talked about for the 10th plague, for the death of the firstborn. It's called Passover. So that'll be next week's lesson, okay? But we'll try to quickly review the plagues next week. So I want you to try to remember all my little visuals here, okay? All right, guys, so I am super out of time, and my app is really yelling at me for taking too long. So you all can pray with your moms and dads, but I'm really sorry that we don't have time today. But that was a lot of it. That was a lot of lesson to go through. So I will see you all next Sunday at 4:30, okay? Okay. Bye.